may iba pang darating for today. But for now, sit back and relax. I know we're all excited about the topic for today. But again, we're going to begin in a little while. So, antay lang po muna tayo dyan. Good afternoon to everyone. Okay, so good afternoon to everyone. Welcome to today's Stat Speaks, a colloquium on the Statistical Sciences. Apologies for that. I'm Bea Daga. I'm an instructor at the UP School of Statistics, and I will be your moderator for today. So we have an exciting topic for today's colloquium. I'm sure you've seen already the topic or the title for today's colloquium. But before we begin, we have some reminders. So for the first one, the audience are requested to reserve their questions for the Q&A forum at the end of each presentation. The audience are enjoined to use the raise hand feature of Zoom to facilitate the question and answer forum in an orderly manner. You may also use the chat feature of Zoom to relay your questions. So you may send your questions to everyone, or you may send them privately to me, the moderator. When you're asking a question live or relaying it via the chat box, we are encouraging you to use the following format when asking the questions. So you may state your name, the university, institution, or agency that you're affiliated with, and your question for our speaker. Okay, so I know we're all excited. Without further ado, allow me to introduce our speaker for today. Dr. Rachelle Sambayan is an assistant professor at the Institute of Mathematics in UP Diliman, working on machine learning algorithms. She obtained her PhD in Science and Technology at Gunma University through the Monbukagaksho or MEX scholarship. She graduated with a bachelor's in mathematics and a master's degree in applied mathematics from the Institute of Mathematics UP Diliman. Ladies and gentlemen, let us all give a warm round of clap reacts for our speaker, Dr. Rachelle Sambayan.
Hello, good afternoon. So, may I start now?
Yes po.
Okay. So, can you see my screen?
Yes po, Doc.
All right, thank you. So, good afternoon. So, my talk for today is titled Word Recognition System of Baybayin Script. This is actually a joint work with Mr. Rodney Pino and Dr. Rainier Mendoza. So, Mr. Pino is now in the Institute of Mathematics in UP Diliman and in Department of Math and Computer Science in UP Baguio, while Dr. Mendoza is also from the Institute of Math in UP Diliman, and he is now doing his postdoctoral research in Department of Mathematics in Konkuk University. Right, so here's the outline of the talk. So I'll start with the preliminaries. So I'll talk about Baybayin and about OCR and the objectives of this study. And then for the methodology, so I'll discuss about how we collected the data and our proposed OCR system. So dalawa to, no? OCR system 1 and 2 kasi itong talk na to ay combination actually ng dalawang papers na na-produce from this study. Okay, and then I will also discuss how we classify the Baybayin and the Latin characters. So here we have the character and the classifier at character and at word levels. And then for the results, okay, I'll give the results of this study. Okay, so preliminaries. So what is Baybayin? So actually, there are many scripts existing in the Philippines before. So here we can see Cordita in Ilocos, Basahan in Bicol, Kulitan in Pampanga, and so on. Okay, so here, Baybayin is a script from the Tagalog region or Katagalugan region. So in this figure, okay, so we can see here the Philippine scripts and how they wrote Filipino using these scripts. And then on this side of the figure, we have this family tree of writing systems in the Philippines. So we can see that Baybayin originated from the Egyptian hieroglyphics, and then to Phoenician, which is now in Iraq, and then nag-stem out siya sa left side sa Aramaic, which is now in Israel, and then down to, yeah. So here's Baybayin sa bandang baba, no? Sa right side. Okay. So Baybayin is one of the scripts in Luzon and Visayas. Okay, so here's the Baybayin writing system. We have 17 Baybayin characters, 3 of which are vowels, and then 14 are consonants. So 3 lang yung vowels because, as we can see here, B and B is represented by same character, which is a character, a Baybayin character with a dot above the main body of the character. So this is called a diacritic, yung dot na to sa ibabaw. Also, we can represent a Baybayin character, for example, as bo or bu, if we put a dot or a small circle below the main body of the Baybayin character. Okay. So to suppress the sound, you write the diacritic plus or cross below the main body of the character. Okay, so here are the main characters in Baybayin. So we have ba, kada, ga, halamana, nga, pasatawa, ya for the consonants. Okay. So here's an example. We can write Baybayin as follows. So the first character is the character ba, and then the yi sound or ya is from the ya character with a plus diacritic below to indicate suppression of the a sound. And then another ba, and then yi is from ya with a dot above the character to indicate yi sound, and then sound at the end of the word. So here we have baybayin. Okay, another example is here of Filipino. Okay, so this is Filipino. So there are four syllables for this example. Okay. So here are some baybayin characters in use. So we can now see them appearing in Metro Manila. For example, here in the underpass in Lagos Nilad. Okay. So medyo maliit lang yung pagkaka-picture, pero ito yung isa sa mga uses ng baybayin for now sa mga signs, street signs, sa public places. And then we can also see them now in printed in shirts like this one. And some use them as tattoos like this one. Okay. So now let's go to OCR, or optical character recognition. So what's an OCR? So it reads and recognizes handwritten or printed characters. Okay, as you can see in this image, okay, the input is a text image, and then after we use OCR to that input image, the output is a text in the computer system. So OCR technically converts images, either typed or handwritten texts, into machine encoded texts. One use also of OCR is that it eliminates the need to manually type the document into the computer system. Okay. Such as in the example here, sa left side. So optical character recognition is handwritten, but by using OCR, it was recognized as optical, and then character, and then recognition. Right. So here are the objectives of the study. So this is our first paper titled Optical Character Recognition System for Baybayin Scripts Using Support Vector Machine. So you can access this using this QR code, or you can just type online the title of our study. So here the objectives are as follows. So to discriminate between Baybayin script and Latin script at character level. So the input is just a character, either Baybayin or Latin, and then the system will identify if it's a Baybayin or a Latin script. So for example, we have this input character, Baybayin ba. Okay. So after introducing it to our system, the system will output it's a Baybayin script, and it will also classify and recognize the character aside from identifying if it's a Baybayin or a Latin script. So it's a Baybayin script and the character is ba. Right? Now, if the input is a Latin character, okay, it will be identified by the system as a Latin script, which is character B in Latin characters. Okay, so next, so here are the objectives of our second study. So this is an extension of our first work. So this is titled Baybayin Word Recognition System. So again, you can access this paper using this QR code or using this link below. Okay, so in this study, it finds the equivalent of a Baybayin word in Latin alphabet. So parang na-translate siya into Latin. And then here we determine all the other possible equivalent words by cross-checking the Tagalog dictionary. So what do we mean by this? For example, we have this word in Baybayin. So the possible words or Latin equivalents are as follows. It could be Filipino or Filipino or Filipino and so on. Now, there are many transliterations or equivalent Latin words for this Baybayin word. Okay, so remember yung P and P have the same Baybayin character, also nu and no. So there would be many Latin equivalent for this Baybayin word. And of course, our OCR system will recognize that the correct word for this is Filipino. Okay. And malalaman niyo yun through cross-checking in the Tagalog dictionary. Okay, I'll discuss that later. Okay, so for the first part of the methodology, let's talk about data collection. So here are the data samples that we used for training our model. Okay, remember that the input is a Baybayin character or a Latin character. So here are some of the samples that we have for the Baybayin character A. Okay, so here we set the samples to be 1,000 per character. Okay, and then on this side we have the Latin characters A, big A and small a. Okay, and you can find this in the Kaggle. Okay, so in-upload na siya ni main author namin, si Rodney Pino. Okay, you can access this by using this QR code or this link below. Okay, so nandito na lahat ng ginamit namin ng sample data for reproducibility of our work. Okay, now for the second study, we have these data samples. So ito yung samples ng input namin. Okay, so here we have Baybayin words appearing in images, like as this one in tattoo or in printed shirt. So here the input is a Baybayin word, and we will determine its equivalent Latin form, okay, and the correct Latin word. Okay, so here from the images, we segment the words, the Baybayin words from the images, and then we cross-check this using sample entries from Tagalog dictionary, which is publicly available online. So here's an example of the entries. Okay, so nahahanap, maitatayo, pinasaya, and so on. Okay, so the samples that we used can be found again in Kaggle, okay, Baybayin word images. So you can find this using this QR code or this link below. Okay. Now for our system's assumptions, so yung system namin is limited to this. Okay? So we only accept images in the correct form, meaning ma-recognize yung mga characters and yung diacritics. Okay? So the diacritics are written well, close enough dun sa big or dun sa main character, like this one, right? And then for the incorrect data or input, okay, so like in this first image, hindi na siya recognizable as Baybayin, or the diacritic is bigger than the main body, or incorrect din yung image if the diacritic is shape other than cross or dot or plus sign. Okay. Next. Now for the data preparation, so this is our proposed OCR system for the first study. So this is how we prepare the data. So here in the first image, we have the raw character image with size 106 by 108. And then we convert this to binary image. So gumamit kami dito ng clustering method. So we used only two colors, no, black and white. So this is now of 106 by 108 again na size. And then in the next figure, we computed for the character bounding box that will enclose the character. And then for the fourth image, we cropped the image into 86 by 99 na size. And then we resize the image into 56 by 56. Okay. And then lastly, we denoise the image as follows. Okay. So ito yung steps na pinagdadaanan ng system from raw image up to the denoised image in letter F. Okay, so next. Now this is how we prepare the data for the second study. So here we segment a Baybayin word image into its character components. So given the binary image, Baybayin word image as follows. So we computed for the bounding box from the OCR function. And as you can see here, we have the superimposed centroids. So these centroids are used to compute the bounding box for each character. Okay. Notice that there's a centroid for each main body of the characters and for the diacritics. Okay. So yung sa OCR system namin, binukod namin yung classification dun sa main body and dun sa diacritics. I'll discuss that later. Okay. And then from here, we computed the bounding box for each character, including the diacritics, and then we segmented the character components. So this Baybayin word is composed of three Baybayin characters. And then dito na ulit papasok yung OCR system namin from the first paper, which will classify each character into its Latin character equivalent. Okay. Now let's talk about how we classified Baybayin and Latin script. Okay, so in the first study, it's at character level. So first, we classified the input into Baybayin or Latin. So for example, we have this character input, and then after using our system, OCR system, the output would be, it's a Baybayin script. Okay, so in other words, this is a binary classification. No, dalawa lang. It's either Baybayin or Latin script. And then if the input is, for example, this one, we know that this is a Latin script. Okay, so the OCR system will produce or will output, it's a Latin script. All right. Now, for the character classification, we know that this is already, we already know that this is a Baybayin script, and then the other one is a Latin script. So for character classification, it will produce, the OCR system will produce ba for the first character and then the letter B for the second character. Right? So this is, this involves multi-classification. Okay. So the character ba is compared to the other Baybayin characters, and then the Latin character B is also compared to other Latin characters. So it's a multi-classification task. Now in our second study, this is now at word level. The input is a word. Okay. So from this image, we segment the image into this. Okay. So yun lang kita yung Baybayin words or Baybayin characters. And then we processed it as follows into binary image. Okay? And then we segmented each character into this. And then each character is classified into its correct Latin form. So here, the first character is recognized as pe. The second is na. The third is G only because it has a cross diacritic below the main body. And then pa, and then la. Okay? So the output of our system would be penagpala. Okay? But after cross-checking with the Tagalog dictionary, we obtained the correct form, which is pinagpala. Okay? Because there's no Tagalog word for pinagpala, but we have the pinagpala. Okay? So this is how our OCR system works at word level. Now, to classify or to do the classification tasks, the binary and multi-classification tasks, okay, we used a support vector machine classifier. So this figure demonstrates a binary classification problem. So what SVM do is, or does, it classifies two sets of data. So for example, here we have two sets of data, the circles and the triangles. Yeah. So the first or one group is labeled as y equals 1, and then the other group or the other set of data is labeled y equals -1. So if you will relate this to our OCR system, this is, for example, the Baybayin scripts, and then the other set of samples are Baybayin, Latin scripts. No? Parang Baybayin versus Latin. Now, how to discriminate the two? So here we compute for the the hyperplane that will separate the two classes. The optimal hyperplane that will separate the two classes. So here we maximize the margin from the hyperplane, which is this solid line, to the sets, no? To both sets, which is denoted by these dashed lines. Right? So minamaximize yung distance from the solid line to the dashed lines. Okay. And we can do that by doing this constraint optimization problem. Okay. So I will not delve into this, but this is how the classifier works in binary classification. Okay, so let me continue. Okay, so you can obtain the codes from MathWorks and also from GitHub. Okay, so here's the link for the MathWorks. The GitHub is also given here. Okay, ito. Okay. So you can access the codes for the first study in this site. Okay. And you can run the simulations yourself. Okay, and then for the next study, you can find the MATLAB codes in this website, okay, MathWorks, also in GitHub. Okay, you can also do the simulations yourself here. And then for the results, so this is the results in our first study. So here's the confusion matrix. We have the 17 Baybayin characters, okay, sa column and a row. Okay. So as you can see, we have classified the characters as 100%, okay, in some characters, and as low as 87, I think, yeah, 87.5% in some characters. So yung ibang characters, medyo mababa yung accuracy niya. Actually, this is precision. The column is, this column is precision, and then the row is the recall of the classification performance. Okay, so yung ibang characters, medyo mababa yung classification performance because they are very similar with the other characters. Like for example, the ya character is very similar to a character. Okay, so where else? In pa, okay, pa is also very similar to ya and a. So there are times that nagkakamali yung classifier. Okay? But in some characters, they were identified well or discriminated well. For example, da is discriminated well, no, 100%. And then, for example, ba, okay, so because maybe its character is unique, no? So it's 99.5%. Okay. So here's the generalization performance of the classifiers through accuracy. Okay, so here we performed 10 iterations for the experiments. And then there are holdout percentage, 20% and 30%. Okay, so here we performed 3 classification problems. One is the script classifier, so either Baybayin or Baybayin or Latin. And then the Latin character classifier, so ito na yung multi-class na classifier. So if Latin character, it will be discriminated into the Latin alphabets, okay? And then the Baybayin character classifier, so it will discriminate between ba, ga, ya, and so on. Okay. So yeah, the accuracy are as high as 99% almost, and as low as about 95%. So ito hindi ko na nagawan ng visuals, but you can see in this table that again, we have 2 holdout percentages. So, or the test set, yung iba ang tawag dito test set, no? So, 20% test set, mas mataas yung mean accuracy, precision, and recall, and F1 score compared to, of course, 30% test set. Okay? Kasi mas malaki, kapag 20% yung holdout mo or yung test set, ibig sabihin ano ba sabi ko? Pag mas maliit yung holdout percentage, mas malaki yung training set mo. Okay? So, mas magiging mataas yung accuracy and precision recall and F1 score. Okay. Also in discriminating Baybayin characters and Latin characters, so we obtained around 96% mean accuracy, precision, and recall, and around 95% for the Baybayin characters. Okay. And then the standard deviation is very, very small, meaning walang masyadong outliers. Okay. So medyo nagkaroon lang ng outliers in discriminating Baybayin and Latin characters. So the SD or the standard deviation is about 30%. Now for the second paper, okay, which is the word recognition system, we tested the algorithm to 100 Baybayin and Latin text images or block images, like what we called it. And 94 out of 100 images were correctly classified to their corresponding script. Meaning if it's Baybayin or Latin script, and then the correct term, which is used in the Tagalog dictionary. Okay, so in summary, so in the first study, we have used the OCR system in classifying the character and the Baybayin and Latin scripts at character level. Okay, so the output could be Baybayin script and the character classification would be ba. And then at word level, so this is in our second study. So here we are given Baybayin word as input, and then we segmented it into its character parts, and then converted it to its equivalent Latin form, and then concatenated them again, and then look for the correct Tagalog term. And then here are some results that we obtained for the generalization performance of our proposed system. And may I also mention our third study. So this is our proposed OCR system at page level. Yeah. So here is an example of a page from a document, very old document. So this is Doctrina Christiana. Okay, so we fed this document into the system and it recognizes the Baybayin words from the Latin words. So here, the Baybayin words were enclosed by red boxes, whereas the Latin words were enclosed by blue boxes. Okay? So ano na to? With minor revision na lang siya. Nasabit na namin sa isang journal. Okay. Yeah, so that's all. Thank you for listening.
Ayan, isang round ulit ng clap reacts para kay Dr. Sambayan. Thank you so much po, Dr. Sambayan, for that
Thank you.
informative and meaningful presentation. It's interesting to think about the possible applications of this procedure. And it's great that we can also access po the codes to see the results ourselves. Baka kailangan lang pong medyo intindihin yung codes, pero thank you po for making it available to the public as well. I'm sure all of us learned a lot, and I'm personally excited, and I know the audience are as well, to see the algorithm in action. So to further our learning experience, we are now opening our question and answer forum. So again, you may ask your questions directly to Dr. Sambayan by raising your hand using the raise hand feature. Hindi naman kailangan in person nyo i-raise yung hand. Or you may also ask your questions via the chat box by messaging me using the chat feature here in Zoom. Pwede rin kayo mag-message to everyone. We are encouraging you to state your name and affiliation first before stating your question. So, meron bang magtatanong kay Dr. Sambayan? Okay, so we have a question here. What were the cases when the algorithm was not able to transliterate Baybayin correctly? And does your future work include trying to address these cases?
Yes, of course. There were cases when hindi na-recognize properly yung characters when the characters have very similar in form. For example, the Baybayin characters a, ya, and pa, they all have very similar main body characters. So, ito yung medyo naging challenge dun sa OCR system namin. Also in, may I share again my screen?
Yes, no problem.
Yeah, in the last example, yung Doctrina Christiana, okay, so some characters here, since this is a very, very old document, some characters were not recognized properly, especially those, you can see there are double bars here. So actually this indicates a period in a sentence. So hindi namin siya naisama pa dun sa system namin, but of course we will include this in our next studies.
Okay, thank you po, Doc. Meron pong question. I would like to ask are there minimum sample size when gathering the characters?
Minimum sample size, meaning the like this one?
Siguro po sa training data, yun po ba ibig sabihin natin?
Or maybe the image sizes, I think.
Baka din po.
Yeah. So, usually we obtain character images of this size, bigger than 56. Actually, pinalit pa nga namin siya so that hindi siya masyadong mabigat sa pag-run ng system. But yeah, maybe we can incorporate smaller character image sizes. Kung meron.
Okay po. Yeah. I'm from page 11 daw po pala.
Page 11. Yeah. This one.
Opo.
Yeah, actually, the more samples, the better. The more samples you feed into the system, the better. So mas maraming samples, mas tataas yung classification performance ng system. So mas tataas yung accuracy nung pag-predict ng characters.
Okay. Ayan, meron pong question from MX Ernest Salazar. How do you intend to make use of the output of the study or studies?
Since meron ng pinasang House Bill na incorporate na ulit yung Baybayin characters into public signages and into local products. Okay, so merong malaki yung possibility na Baybayin and Latin characters will appear in the same images or in the same document or maybe in books. Okay, so doon magiging magandang application ng system na to, ng OCR system namin.
Baka pwede rin po gawa po kayo app. Gawa app.
Yes,
tapos pag picture mo sa scan niya, agad matatranslate niya po, di ba?
Parang Google Translate.
Opo, parang ganun po. Pwede for Baybayin. I think we still have time for other questions.
Sige po.
Okay, what was your reason for using SVM instead of other classifiers? And why did you choose to implement in MATLAB?
Wala namang particular reason for implementing in MATLAB. Mas sanay lang kami gumamit ng MATLAB other than compared to Python and other computing languages. We used SVM because it is reportedly greatly outperform most of the other learning algorithms in this type of problems like handwritten and character recognition problems. Also, SVM, according to literatures, can achieve higher accuracy or better accuracy compared to, say, artificial neural network. That's why we used SVM.
Okay, thank you po. Meron po ba kahabol ng questions for Dr. Sambayan? Okay. Huwag na po tayo mahiya. Okay po, kung nahiya po kayo, pwede niyo pong i-message personally. Hindi ko na lang po i-announce yung name niyo. Could you describe the SVM OCR recognition system and why it was able to achieve high accuracy daw po?
Maybe because it's on how we framed our system, classification system. Because, for example, let me share again my screen.
Sige lang po.
Yeah. For example, in this one, we first removed the diacritics, okay, before we run the classification algorithm, so that, for example, this character has lesser, kumbaga mas konti yung characters kung saan siya i-compare. Okay, and then, or for example, sige, ito na lang. Itong middle, which is na. Okay, so pag na-classify na siya from the other Baybayin characters, then it will be discriminated or classified against na or neni or nonu by incorporating again the diacritic. So that is the difference of this system, OCR system, from the other OCR systems. That's why it performed better than the other OCR systems.
Ayan. Can the algorithm be used for conversion of Latin scripts to Baybayin? Aso po, baliktad naman po. Would it be possible to generate a translation of Latin words to Baybayin script na?
Maybe it's possible. So maybe we can ask the main author if it's all right.
Yes, sige, tawagin po natin. Ating pong special guest.
Yeah, special participation.
Hello po.
Good afternoon.
Thanks, Rodney.
Good afternoon.
Yes, I am Rodney. Yeah, main author ko ng paper na to. So, Ayan. Hi. So yung pabalik, no, from Latin to Baybayin is hindi pa siya applicable sa system. Yung kino-consider lang talaga namin is from Baybayin images to Latin. Since kasi nga may mga naman parang may mga websites sa ngayon na pag nagta-type ka ng Latin ay i-convert niya to Baybayin script. So yung parang medyo special or first lang ng study na to is that yung Baybayin scripts mismo ay kino-convert sa Latin script. So wala pang website or wala pang ganong study. Yes, we also have Sir Dr. Rainier.
Hello po, good
Hello
evening.
po. Good evening po.
Sa add ko lang sinabi ni Rodney, thank you Rachel sa presentation. Kasi ang problema kapag Latin to Baybayin, kasi siya, binabaybay kasi siya, halimbawa ay Rodney, no? So parang pag titingnan mo siya, yung pagkasulat kasi niya parang Rodney, parang yung may Y pa sa dulo. Pag babaybayin mo siya, iba yung pag-translate papunta sa baybayin. So kailangan itatype mo siya ng kung paano mo siya binabaybay. So pagka gagawin ito, very interesting siya na project, pero kailangan ay i-convert mo muna siya sa IPA, yung kanyang phonetic equivalent. Tapos saka mo i-approximate yung pinakamalapit na baybayin. Tapos saka mo pa siya maka-convert. Pero kasi pag na-type mo lang siya as is, medyo siya tricky. Kasi magkaiba siya, hindi, parang kung ano yung baybay, ganun yung pagsulat. So meron pa siyang linguistic side na medyo tricky. Pero yeah, very, very interesting sa future work din siya.
Okay, thank you po. And I think this is our last question for today. How to disseminate information on Baybayin and Latin characters to the general public?
Yeah, maybe through its usage. So more usage, more chance to introduce it to the general public. So mas ginagamit mo siya, mas ma-introduce siya sa mga tao kung paano gamitin. Like now, maganda yung ginawa din sa Manila na sinisimulan na siyang gamitin sa mga signages sa public places. So yun, yung mga ganun. And nag-appear na rin din siya sa mga shirts. And so maganda rin yung way to reintroduce actually Baybayin to the general public.
Ayan, so thank you very much po, Dr. Sambayan. At syempre po sa ating mga guest speakers, si Doc Rodney and si Sir Doc Rainier, tama po ba? So maraming salamat po for sharing din your insights with us today. Meron pa pong question pala dito. Siguro okay lang po ba? One last question before we end.
Sige.
Yes, okay, thank you po. So can the system recognize the words that are not on the standard Tagalog dictionary?
Well, the system will recognize the Baybayin. Well, for example, Baybayin character, and then it will transform it into its equivalent Latin form. But Baybayin is a Tagalog script, so yeah, maybe no. The answer here is no. So it cannot recognize words that are not on the standard Tagalog dictionary. So it must be cross-checked with a Tagalog dictionary because Baybayin is a Tagalog script. Yeah.
Okay. Yes po. Doc Rainier?
So idagdag ko lang. So actually yung dictionary naman ay parang galing lang siya sa online dictionary ng mga words. Pero kung yung word ay wala pa doon, pwede naman siya doon i-add sa system kung talagang Tagalog word siya na hindi nasama doon sa Tagalog database. Kasi doon siya i-compare. So parang kapag wala siya, pwede namang i-edit yung parang database ng dictionary para ma-include siya. Para sa next time na i-run siya, masasama na siya. Pero
Yes.
Currently, kung ano lang yung current dictionary, yun pa lang siya. Pero pwede siyang madagdagan naman.
Ang nasisip ko sa question kasi parang, for example, Bicolano or Ilocano. Oh, yeah. So, tama
pero
yung sabi
pwede
ni
pa naman
Dr.
sila
Velasco.
madagdag kasi
Yes.
kung bawa yung sa Bisaya, diba ginagamit din yung Baybayin. Basta madadagdag lang siya doon sa
dictionary. Okay. So, for now, yung study is very limited dun sa kung ano yung nandun sa Tagalog dictionary. Kung ano yung words na nandun sa Tagalog dictionary.
Yeah. Okay, thank you po. If meron po silang other questions, paano po sila pwedeng mag-correspond sa inyo?
They can reach us through our email address. So, hindi ko yata, hindi ko pala nailagay yung email address ko. So, maybe
No
I'll just
problem po.
type. I'll just type
Sige
in
po.
the chat box.
Okay, so once again, maraming salamat po sa lahat. Dr. Sambayan, Dr. Rodney, Dr. Rainier, thank you so much po for sharing such an interesting topic with us today. So of course, we cannot end this event without giving honor and recognition sa ating speakers. So allow me to read and present to all of you our certificate of appreciation. Okay, so the certificate of appreciation is the UP School of Statistics awards the certificate of appreciation to Dr. Rachelle Sambayan in grateful recognition of her expertise and invaluable service as a speaker in our colloquium on the Statistical Sciences. Given this 28th day of October 2021 via Zoom and signed by Dr. Imogen F. Evidente, the Director for Research of the UP School of Statistics, and Dr. Joseph Ryan G. Lansangan, the Dean of the UP School of Statistics. So again, isa pong masigabong palakpakan para sa ating speaker for today. And of course, maraming salamat din po kay Dr. Rainier and Dr. Rodney. So ayan, nandun na po sa chat ang kanilang email address in case meron po kayong additional questions regarding sa ating topic today. Okay. So again, thank you to everyone who joined us in today's event. We wish you well and that you and your loved ones be safe and dry. We're hoping to see you again in the next installment of Stat Speaks on November 18, 2021 for the study entitled Impact of Subsidies on Market Competition in the Philippine Agriculture and Manufacturing Sectors by Mr. Emmanuel D. Barnedo, a research associate from the Angelo King Institute at De La Salle University and a Master of Statistics student here in UPSS. So please check our Facebook page for the invitations and announcements. You may also answer the form at bit.ly/statspeaks1118 to register for the next colloquium. So we would also appreciate to hear your thoughts and evaluation of our event. Kindly go to bit.ly/colloq1028, so that's October 28, -feedback-cert and answer the feedback form. If you want to receive a certificate of participation, then answer the same form in the given link and fill out the details. Sigurado po na tama yung details and your certificates will be emailed to you immediately. So you may also subscribe to our mailing list at bit.ly/upstat mailing list to receive notifications on our future events. Again, maraming salamat po sa pagpunta today. Happy dinner and may the rest of your day be blessed. Thank you so much.
Rachelle? Rachelle?
Hello. Hi, ma'am.
Nandito ba si na Rainier? Gusto ko lang mag-thank you. Gusto sila?
Ma'am, nag-leave na ata. Oo.
Okay, sige lang.